Thank you for joining me. Your host is Dominique Rivera, the Oracle of Apollo. It is Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, and we are here with another supernatural story time. We have Phil that's coming on, and he's going to talk all about vipassana, magic drum circles, and flutes. Oh my. Today's a musical episode, all entwined with spirit. So let's see how those two correlate and make sure you guys are liking and subscribing, following wherever you are watching this because I'm live streaming every single Wednesday and Sunday night for 4 seasons and a half now. So let's jump into the show and bienvenue.
It's paradise inside of our hearts. It feels so nice to pray in the dark. Beings of light, see who you are. 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 See who you are.
Welcome to Divine Encounters here on the E360 TV Trajectory TV network. Thank you, everybody, so much for being here. I am your host, Dominique Rivera, the Oracle of Apollo, multidimensional trance medium, psychic medium, healing medium. I'm actually 4'11", so most people might say I'm an extra small, but that's neither here nor there. Reiki master, integrated energy therapy master, instructor, and your host for this evening. If you have ever had an experience where there was something you felt that was more than what meets the eye, maybe is there an existence beyond this existence? Do you have questions about metaphysics, holistics, changes, elements? Then you're in the right spot because this show encompasses all of those things with the unique fingerprint of the individual. If you want to work with a coach like me, make sure you guys check me out here at oracleofapollo.com. You can go ahead and book me for events, private events, group events, get a private reading from me through Zoom if you're not located in the United States, or book me in Pennsylvania and there I shall be. If you are in Huntington Valley this weekend, you can come sit with me for readings at the Plymouth Meeting Mall Saturday at 4 p.m. This Saturday coming up at 4 to 8 p.m. I will be doing readings there. So come check me out, the Oracle of Apollo. And if you have a supernatural story time that you want to share on this platform to 200,000 people across all of the live streaming platforms, make sure you email me. I would love to hear about it. Let's bring your story alive. Divine Encounters at E360tvlive.com. Beautiful. So we're going to be bringing on my guest today, and then we're going to be jumping in to the angel number, the collective message for you all in a positive way. And of course, we're going to give you some tools before you walk away from this episode that you can implement on your day-to-day life to shift your vibrational frequency and become more aligned. So all of you out there who are definitely watching us on the replay, hashtag seeker, so that I know you watch this on the replay. And seekers, make sure you are giving hearts, sharing this feed, letting other people know that this kind of content is existing in the world so that we can all do our part in raising the collective understanding and make global impact. So let's jump right into it and bring our guest on. All right. Here he is, man of the hour. How are you?
Hi, I'm great. I'm
Introduce yourself for the collective. Let them know a little bit about who you are, your bio, so to speak.
Well, my name is Philip. I was born in Bakersfield, California, the same town that corn comes from. It's kind of tucked away in the middle of nowhere where all the Okies immigrated to. Then I was raised in Tehachapi from the age of 7, getting away from all that smog and experiencing nature a little bit more. And then I started traveling after 21. I went to San Francisco, worked as a cafe barista for a year. And then everything changed in my life when I discovered vipassana meditation by, you know, synchronicity. My friends just happened to sign up for it a month in advance in San Francisco. And then I had a car. And so, like, 3 days before the event, I signed up for it, got onto the waiting list. And then the next day, I got onto the list. And I ended up there. The meditation really hit hard on the fourth day. I understood exactly how this practice was going to like get me to a place where I knew exactly what I needed to do with my life. And what that was master the flute. And so I got a recorder for $8 and started immediately every single moment of awareness, which was now much more extended. Memorized the finger chart within a month, and I was improvising, and I was like, wow, it's this easy to improvise and just make melodies off of the top of my head. So I found my first drum circle in
Let's not get
2000.
into your story yet, Phil.
Oh,
Let's not get
yeah.
there. I want to just know a little about you. Let them simmer. Let
Oh
them
yeah.
be in suspense. You guys, you're gonna get that juicy story, just not at this very moment. So you better
Oh
put
well,
your hats on.
I'm just a traveling flute player. I go all over America. I haven't been out of America yet, but I've experienced every single state except for North Dakota. All the
And are you gonna be playing some flute for us today though?
yes.
Yay! I'm so excited. And with all of that excitement, we're going to jump into the angel number of today to see what they have for us. So let's jump in. All right. So the angel number for today is the number 193. And here we are, angel number 193. So, angel number 193, and this is for everybody who is listening to the sound of my voice at this very moment. If you hear this message most likely is for you. So, let's pull up this baby closer. Come here, my darling, be my friend. Resonates with the combined energies of the number 1, the number 9, and the number 3. Number 1 brings with it the attributes of self leadership and assertiveness, initiative, action and progress, new beginnings, and a fresh approach. It also relates to motivation, striving forward, and progress, and reminds us that we create our own realities by our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. Number 9 resonates with light working and humanitarianism, service to others, leading, leadership, and doing this for others by positive example. Inner wisdom, spiritual awakening, and the universe's spiritual laws. Number 9 also relates to the spiritual law of karma and serving your soul purpose. Number 3 offers assistance and encouragement, communication and enthusiasm, growth, expansion, and the principles of increase. Broad minded thinking, self expression, talent, and skills. Is this not a musical episode? Number 3 often indicates that the ascended masters, they're definitely around you. On your divine spark that is within yourself and others and assist with manifesting your desires. Angel number 193 is a message to let go of any situations in your life that are no longer positively serving you. Allow the old to leave your life and do not cling to situations out of fear. It is most important that you hold a positive viewpoint and have high expectations about yourself and the future. Your thoughts create your experiences and you create your own reality. So, ask your angels to help you maintain a positive outlook. Do not allow any negative aspects to hinder or stop you. Your angels and the ascended masters encourage you to support you always. Angel number 193 is a message to follow your intuition and take heed to your insights. Your angels and the ascended masters are encouraging you to follow your divine life purpose and soul mission. Feel free to call upon them whenever you wish for guidance and assistance. Trust your guides and your angels to walk you through the doors of self knowledge. Listen to your angels' wisdoms for confidence in your thinking and in your actions. And that is angel number 193 today. Okay, Phil, how are you feeling about the
Great.
collective number for today?
Well, spot on. It reminded me of the 3, the 6, and the 9, which has been a popular gas price recently. And Nikola Tesla said if you only knew the secrets of the 3, the 6, and the 9, you'd understand the secrets of the universe and how it oscillates between them all.
Oh,
I'm not educated by a mathematical understanding, but there's a certain experiential, like numerological synchronicity that keeps on popping up in our lives, and when we become aware of it, it makes life way more magical.
I agree. I agree. It does make life magical. And I feel in order for us to receive magic in our lives, it requires us to drop jadedness somewhere within the programming and the limitations that we've placed on ourselves and allow things to enter that are playful, that spark curiosity, that bring us to a place of, what is that?
Yeah.
That's my feelings on that. So, you are a magical traveling flute player. I think that's really exciting, and I'm gonna share a little bit of something here. So, I have a magical flute. It is not in my vicinity right now. I wish it were, and I wish I would have found it for this episode. But it was given to me by a Lakota elder, and I also didn't know how to play the flute, and I asked permission from the ancestors to play the flute. And so I've been taking it all around the world with me, using it for prayer with just the ancestors playing through. And not that long ago, I had a composer who just so happened to be an earshot of an event that I was in Ithaca. And she said, "Wow, you play the flute so beautiful." And I laughed because I said, "No, I I don't play the flute."
the the flute is being played through us.
Yes, it is playing it's playing itself. Hey
It's like
Robert. Robert's on here. He is hello. He's just saying hello. So thank you for being here. So you went to an experience. You're gonna have to tell people here what vipassana is for the
okay.
collective general understanding, and let's start from there.
Vipassana is, from my understanding, the original meditation of what Buddha taught before it got turned into a religion mixed with shamanism and all sorts of belief systems throughout Asia. In certain parts of Burma, they just maintained what Buddha taught it, you know, from lineage to lineage until Goenka, who was this businessman from Myanmar who was of Indian heritage. He had a migraine, and it's probably from being a businessman. He got addicted to morphine, and then when he was going around the world to get off of morphine, he came back to Myanmar, and he's like, there's this meditation that what you have is psychosomatic. It's caused largely by your unconscious, subconscious mind, stuck in habit patterns. So people have gotten out of these habit patterns through this meditation, and so he went to go do the meditation, and he 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 went to India, and then he spread it throughout the rest of the world. It came to California, and I just ended up receiving it there. And once I received it, was like, wow, I need to do this a lot. So I did it 10 times. 10 times, meaning 10 days of silence each time. So you go there, and for 3 days, you just observe your breath and the subtle sensations around your nose. And then you get it down to a narrow point above the upper lip, under the nose. And you take that awareness to the top of your head, and you slowly go throughout your whole entire body, observing everything while at the same time not generating craving and aversion towards it. And then you build this muscle memory of, oh yes, this is impermanent. I shouldn't react as if this is what the state I'm going to be in forever. So with that realization, it also came with the seeds of the manager who was the guy who signed up to, be the manager of the men's side of things. He had to go off on the 8th day and play the flute by himself, way far away, in order to center himself, because it was kind of stressful managing a bunch of silent people who are meditating for the first time. So with that, also there was this beatboxing flute player who was getting popular on YouTube at the time, and I thought, oh well, it's still possible to get well known as a flute player in this country. Whereas I feel like in other countries they have more of a appreciation for flute. In this country, it's largely underappreciated. I'm appreciated when I go to New England or wherever I go, but like guitarist, this nation was founded on rock and roll. Which is largely an amalgamation of all cultures, and started off with Sister Rosetta Tharpe, who was an African American woman from the 40s and maybe even the 30s. Anyway, I'm just ever since then, my life has been very mystical, and this was.
And how long ago did you have that initial 10-day retreat?
2008.
And then you came out of that retreat. You go home and you're integrating. Is that what's happening?
Well, I went home and I got bored of my hometown, so I went traveling again, and I discovered the Rainbow Gathering. Shortly after my first drum.
What is a rainbow gathering for those who aren't savvy?
Ever since 1972, the hippies that were kicked out of the 60s because of the jaded disappointment of not ending the Vietnam War immediately or something. There were a bunch of awesome, not jaded hippies who just needed a place to go. The forest, the national forest, get back to nature, learn how to live together with primitive means, cooking food on a fire, and cleaning up afterwards, and leaving no fingerprint. Yeah, leaving no trace, except for footprints, which go away within a month or whatever. Yeah, ever since I discovered my first Rainbow Gathering, which was in 2009, I found my home away from home, my tribe, all these people and friends that I've made over the past 15 or 16 years has added fuel and peace and hope to my heart. And I'm very grateful that my life is like this. Like, not everybody's life is like this. There's not flute players like in Ireland, like Galway, there's so many flute players. They have a town that's actually centered around flutes in Ireland. And then there's the flute archetypes like Krishna, Kokopelli, and Pan. Greek mythology. I just refreshed my memory about Greek mythology by watching a YouTube video that showed all of Greek mythology in 3 hours. And yeah, it's all very like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that Psyche was the name of a goddess, a mortal who became a goddess, the most beautiful woman, they said. And it's, our psyche, our mental thinking processes comes from that, and all these words. I had an experience in Mount Shasta that came like 5 years after the biggest impactful thing that ever happened in my life as a result of meditation and just a little bit of Kundalini yoga. And then I had a Kundalini awakening in 2011, which, you feel this energy from the base of your spine go up your spinal cord like this, like a DNA spiral. And you feel that energy just awaken all your chakras, and then your third eye is seeing multi-dimensionality, like 144, the ninth dimension. Like everything starts to make sense, even though you can't really explain it in a third dimensional language, which is why you start speaking in tongues or light language, as other people try to circumvent the natural shutdown mechanism that happens when people have been traumatized by certain sects that didn't do it right. Like, some people just have filters. They have filters around this higher energy, and you just have to work through it. I do it through flute and drum circles because there's nothing more like cut through the bone. I mean, all the blocks, because of we've been doing this for a long time.
It's
And
fun. For those of you at home who maybe grew up like me, just city, and you're not privy to an open space that isn't concrete, that has a drum circle, I would highly encourage to seek outside of your city if there isn't one, to somewhere where there is something being hosted like this. I just started sitting down for drum circles maybe 3 years ago. That was like my first experience for that. And there is something very beautiful in the archaic way that it's created and the primal essence that's there. And it's very connective, it's very tangible, it's very even ethereal, blended together. So let's talk about these drum circles and how do you feel like they impact other people? But then I also want to know how they impact you. Like, why should we have drum circles? What are the importance of that and how it's impacting you?
drum circles make me a much better flute player, I've noticed, because I switch into a almost trance-like state of consciousness where I don't even think about the melody. It just comes naturally based off of the rhythm. And a lot of drummers feel the same way, that they become way better at drumming when they're at drum circle, because there's this heart connectivity. Like the heart has neurons in it, and it thinks, and it beats to this same pulse that makes the waterfall, that makes the atoms, the sun, and all that stuff. Chi, as it were. Prana. It's as the famous words of Bill Hicks, we are all one consciousness experiencing itself subjectively. And that's just my favorite, go-to way of experiencing experiential spirituality, the breath and sound and ancient ritual, dance, magic, theater. This is where I'm at. That's where Harry Parch was at. He was a composer from the turn of the century to the 70s. He was a train hopper in the Great Depression, and he built this whole entire musical instrument orchestra based off of 43 notes per octave, which is, it's more than 12 notes per octave. There are 12 tones on here. They were developed 300 years ago with music theory in the West, and he believed that it was a mistake. We were correct after the Greeks, when the Greeks discovered perfect ratios. The octave, the octave, the fourth, the third, the perfect ratios. That was where we should have continued, and he just brought that to rather extended lengths. And yeah, he's my favorite composer who's no longer living, but I make it a point to tell people about Harry Parch like he's the real Harry Potter. He's the real magic man that nobody knows about and should be known about. That and the 432 Hertz thing. 3 years into learning the flute, I discovered this esoteric information about how you can lower the pitch from standard to 432 Hertz from 440, which is standard. And everything just started to resonate. It was like, well, this resonates with my aura. This feels good. Why isn't this standard pitch? And then I did a little bit more research and I got for myself the scientific reasonings for why I was feeling this. It just resonates with my chakras and it breaks through the illusion and it makes me sing way better. It's like, I don't know, flying with wings. Or, I don't know. I don't know how to put it poetically. But the all these numbers just line up. 144 becomes the D note. The C becomes 128, or if you were to go down to the root, it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, 1024. That's why C is in the middle of the keyboard. And you know, I'm impressed with how hidden this secret has been from the public. Even though we have videos like Sonic Geometry on YouTube that explain it in full detail, I find an immense amount of opposition to wanting to dabble with other frequencies. Except when they don't. When I find those musicians, we have amazing jams, and it's super intuitive, super like it's ancient sounding, like what they were playing in the ancient Egypt or ancient Japan or ancient Africa. It feels like everything's coming together, and as we're accelerating with ever since 2012, I've just been seeing more and more spiritual things go on in my life. Like very recently, I met a tabla player in New Hampshire at the last Rainbow Gathering in 2000, last summer, last July 4th. This tabla player is a classically trained piano player from San Francisco. And he had only been playing tabla for about 3 months, but he already has like a master sound. And I was playing with him at the Rainbow Gathering at the drum circle. It was so good that we traveled together from New Hampshire to Knoxville, Tennessee, stopping in Ithaca along the way for 3 days. And Ithaca was very magical. It's gorgeous. As they say. Are you there?
Ithaca is very magical and absolutely stunning, amazing. I had such a beautiful privilege of being there. Yes, I agree. I concur.
Yeah, I really soaked up the 3 days there with trips to the waterfalls and busking. My friend got an hour head start of our busking game, which is playing for tips on the street because people appreciate. He got $100 tip, and I was like, oh, it was his first $100 tip. I know what that was like. And it's like, wow, when people start giving you money for doing what you love, it takes away this big worry. It takes away this big part of your consciousness that's constantly struggling to survive or whatever, and it shifts your focus towards thrive. And that focus on thrive gets rid of all the worry that would normally come along with daily day-to-day existence. Mostly, whenever I worry, I notice it's because I'm surrounded by warriors. And warriors, oh wow, I just noticed that warrior and worrier are very similar.
Very.
So it's almost as if like when I feel the need to go into nature and just be in my own energy, that uh, enables me to help everybody that I'm with. And
So, do you take the flute when you're going into nature and you're just playing flute by yourself?
yeah,
Besides becoming a better flute player, how has this shifted you energetically, or how has it manifested in the external? Like what has changed in the external by becoming the better flute player?
well, I have all these friends that are traveling and musical all the time. I got to perform on this Ohm Dome stage at Shangri-La in Minnesota. My friend Sierra Marin, who became a singer-songwriter overnight after doing ayahuasca in Hawaii, just impressed me with, introduced me to the loop pedal, and then like a couple years later, we meet randomly at a music festival, and I, got 2 days notice to play flute with her on stage, which reminds me I'm doing that again tomorrow night for another band called Soctopus. Um, I was impressed by them. They reminded me of this Japanese rap group called Shaka Zombie, which I recommend. It's rare to hear good Japanese rap, but it does exist. And I just want to talk about rap for 1 second, because the first I never understood rap until I was 19 and I smoked weed for the first time. And all of a sudden, everything made sense in the song, and it felt like I was a cat, and it felt like I was putting my head onto the shoulders of a lover, which up until that time I had not experienced. So it was kind of interesting to feel like all my needs were just met and I was in this cozy, creative euphoria. And
Hip hop
yeah,
has
that
hit his 50th anniversary this year. So shout
who?
out to hip hop has
Oh,
hit 50 years this year. We had the 50-year anniversary of hip hop. So hip hop
oh,
has a space dear in my heart. I rap, and I actually am working with someone right now. We're laying down some tracks on Monday night, but I feel like rap is a beautiful art form coming from urban streets where there wasn't drum circles. We had cipher circles on the middle
mm,
of the corner of the street.
mhm.
There was no fire. The fire was the story. The fire was what we were bringing to the corner, and this was our form of expression. This is how spirit, so to speak, would come in through these storytellers who were rhythmic and challenging themselves with bars and verses and timing and math, as
Yeah,
Robert shared.
I my favorite rapper was MF Doom. He died 2 or 3 years ago, and they named a street after him in New York City or Brooklyn. I didn't go to it when I went to New York City, which well, I don't regret it, but I had yeah, absolutely. It was funny how later on there was this website that does analysis on rappers and made MF Doom sound like the best rapper in the whole entire world based off the way he was, I don't know, mathematicians like analyzing him and stuff like that. It's like, well, that's impressive. Yeah, he would rap about, Adult Swim cartoons and like old comic books from the 70s and getting excited to watch Saturday morning cartoons with cereal. It was like, this wholesome, very silly, goofy rap that made me appreciate a whole subculture and genre overnight. And I never became a rapper myself, but I've always admired that style of improvisation and channeling. It's a form of channeling for sure.
Absolutely.
Um,
I lo-
not
I've seen this at the Pyro Music Arts Festival in Ohio. Was a really
oh,
beautiful example. We had a cipher circle in front of the fire. So now these two elements that I love the most, boom, in one. And you hear people who are consciously rapping. And I'm gonna just shout out my boy Free Soul, who's a beautiful soul. He's has over, I think, 800,000 listeners a month now on Spotify. We had a band together when we were younger, and he's putting out conscious rap. And I feel like now this is a very imperative time in living history to bring this art form that was once about devastation, as a lot of types of art forms come in, like the blues, some type of oppression is what creates certain genres of music. And now we're breaking through those oppressive things with consciousness. So this is something that's on the rise. So go look for Queen Herbie, go look for Free Soul, go look for Lava, go look for Fungi, go find conscious rappers, because these songs, this music, these notes that are vibrationally encoded into the music itself, just like Phil was saying, they all are resonating at a certain harmonic frequency that are shifting and changing your cellular memory, your atomic self. And when we are in these spaces, this allows us to become more magnetic. This allows us to become more higher vibration. This allows us to be more connective. So I just wanted to point that out, just shouting out some people. I didn't get paid to shout any of those people out, but these are some of my personal favorites, so I wanted to share them. And they all do have a Spotify. And then, be on the lookout for my stuff coming up. No cap. Shameless plug. So how do you feel what is the next evolution of these fire circles, or what would you like to see transpire from your flute playing? So what are your next steps?
Saving it and sharing it. Saving
it.
I mean, by saving it, we can record. Sometimes some people have mixed feelings about recording spiritual events, but in India, they record right there in the temple. It's not like a fear of artificial intelligence, like recreating reality through the rituals that it experiences. I understand that fear, and it's based off of some people's timelines where they were doing too much technology and not doing enough grounding. I am a fan of technology as an extension of our own consciousness, because I grew up on the internet from the age of 13, and my social skills really came into play because of an 8th grade typing class that made me really good at typing. So I believe in connectivity. I'm a Gemini. It's about communication. It's about air. It's about breath. It's about two consciousnesses, and I resonate that with my flute, and I mix with other elements at the drum circle with all the different zodiacs, and it's quite.
What do you feel is the most prevalent memory that you possess in regards to having either a somatic experience through your flute or a spiritual experience through your flute? What do you feel like was the pivotal moment where you were like, wow, I can't believe this just transpired through me because of this instrument?
2011, my first national rainbow gathering. When I had that Kundalini awakening, there were specific rites and rituals that I was all automatically doing, as if I was being marionetted by my higher self through the stars and the earth. But there was a specific time when I played a shakuhachi, which is a Japanese flute. It was made out of PVC pipe, made by presumably a juggalo, because there was a didgeridoo right next to it that said "whoop whoop, juggalo for life." Anyway, if you don't know what that is, it's ICP. It's a band. It's a whole subculture. Anyway, I found this flute. I played it at a kitchen, but it wasn't my flute. I left it there. And then there was this huge cleanup at the end of rainbow gatherings, and there was this huge mountain of trash bags. And I, for whatever reason, felt compelled to just poke a hole in the trash bag. And what is this but that shakuhachi that I played 2 days earlier? And I had that shakuhachi for 2 weeks. I went up to Seattle. I went down to Grants Pass, Oregon, Southern Oregon. and it was a really good flute. And I left it in a park sometime, and then I heard somebody else ended up playing it through the grapevine. So it probably went on to a different owner who knows how to play the shakuhachi. So I'm happy about that. There's a video on YouTube. If you search for Flute Tramp in Cave Junction, which is the nearby town to Grants Pass, of me playing improvised melody plus a Zelda melody on the shakuhachi. And I was like, well, at least there's some visual evidence of this crazy story that I tell sometimes, because, like sometimes people don't believe you if your life is too mystical.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Visual.
Actually, I found that video of the flute tramp in. So how about we check it out?
Okay, yeah, let's look it up. It's right here. We have the internet.
Yep, we are capable and able. So let's go. You guys are gonna have to just give me a second. Let's do a share screen. And all right, we're gonna do this right here. Can you see the screen? Yes, you can. All right, so let's play this.
Yeah.
What's happening? You making some music?
Hell yeah.
Yeah?
You know, it was made by Juggalo.
Oh, was it?
And I've got a didgeridoo that was also made by a Juggalo.
Nice.
It says, Juggalo for life, whoop whoop on it.
Nice.
Now let's see what we got.
Can you play some, yeah? Nice.
Yeah, that was 2011. And my first pair of dreads. This is my second pair of dreads.
Robert says that was cool. I'm high. I'm blissed out right now. I am. I'm blissed out. You started playing, and I just felt everything surge up and sit here. This is where everything went, right here. I have a head high now.
Wow.
So I'm
Makes me
wondering how
wonder-
many other people are being influenced by that 60 seconds of
Yeah,
flute
not too many
playing.
people have seen that video, but one person who recognized the Zelda melody commented, "Hey, that's the Song of Time from Zelda." And I was like, "Yes, made a connection."
Someone got it. And you had just found that flute right then and there?
I found it like 2 weeks before then. Mhm.
Wow.
I must have
So
lost
I
it
feel the
somewhere.
same way about crystals. Like you have a crystal and you wear it or
Mm.
something, and then once it just walks away, it served its purpose in your karma.
Yeah,
It has
yeah.
its own karma, and then
This is
someone
my
else.
13th flute, I think. I'm guesstimating because I don't have a perfect memory, but if I were to meditate, I would be able to remember exactly what I need to remember.
Have
I've
you
had,
lost 12 flutes?
yeah, it's remarkable how
That is remarkable. It's 12 flutes. It's
yeah,
not like it was a wallet, or a sock.
for one thing, they are victims of the material world. They break down over time, and it becomes more expensive to replace the pads at a shop
Oh.
than it does to just buy a $50 flute off of Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist.
Okay, I understand.
And sometimes they come to me in synchronicity, like a $400 solid silver flute, which is like 1/10 of the price it was originally. I find this, on a regular basis whenever I'm like really wanting a fancy flute, which has only happened twice in my life. But You know, I like silver and I like gold. They actually have gold lip plate flutes on Facebook Marketplace for reasonable prices sometimes.
They
Recently,
make a different does it make a difference having the different metal? I mean, energetically, I understand the difference. I understand the difference between the metals, but um musically, what
yeah,
are the differences or while you're playing it, do you as a spiritual person feel there's an additional value to the different metals?
I do because it's resonates within the fine core of my soul. Like there's along with the 432, I could make a really cheap flute sound really good, but if I were to play a solid silver, you know, gold flute on the full moon, it just there's this clarity and refinement and divinity. You know, divinity, cleanliness is close to godliness, and the purer the metal, the better. And for whatever reason, flutes became jewelry pieces, and you know, I like that about flutes because like there's very little in my life that I lock into value. Sometimes I wear a gold chain that is like a bank account because I haven't had a bank account since I was 23. I you know, ended my connection to the straw hat for the large part, you know, if you know what I'm talking about. Like I I don't like the system. The system's very parasitic. It's you know, something that we all have to deal with because of people's unwillingness to collectively say no. Um, I believe that there is at least 10% of the population who is definitely like, no, and trying to tell everybody else that it's okay to say no to the 2,000 people that sit in power at the top with the money game, you know.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, I, um,
I have a question about your Kundalini awakening
yes.
because this is again one of those label words, like a very specific word that the regular urban person, and I feel like this shows gravitated to a lot of city people. So,
Mhm.
especially novices, can you share what that experiences was like internally and what it produced externally? And we have like 5 minutes left.
Oh, okay. Well, in 2011, when I had this Kundalini awakening, it happened on the 3rd of July. And it happened 3 days after I had done LSD for the seventh time in my life. I counted it up to that point, and it was great, like it normally is. But you know, I experienced that, and I knew what it was like. It was I played the violin in 432 all over the forest with 30,000 people ish. Um,
Wow.
and then on the 3rd of July, it's like as if my higher knowing just knew what to do. And I was connecting to the sun, the earth, and the river, doing this dance. And I was putting my hands into the water, seeing the sacred geometry come out of my hands. All the meanwhile, like just seeing people's face light up as if they got activated too, as if their higher self was helping them remember why we're here, what we're doing, why it's okay to trust and go with you know the cosmic forces of nature, the elements, and the spirits that we channel. Because you know, as I keep on experiencing this, it's like you know higher downloads, like stuff that you can only know then that you never thought you or never imagined that you could know because they don't educate us. But all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, the 12 strand DNA and the gold, the monoatomic gold helps our pineal glands. And I've known some people who got activated simply by taking monoatomic gold. Like they were a country bumpkin, and now all of a sudden they know exactly the language we're talking about.
Wow.
And yeah, the Kundalini yoga that I did right before doing this probably had something to do with it, because you have to get your spine, you have to get your posture just right for that flow in the spinal fluid to go up and down and polish off those chakras, which is like the light body, which exists in tandem with our physical body. Uh, yeah, it's just there were some hiccups along the way. I ended up going to jail for a month, 2 months after these downloads started happening. I went up to Seattle, I went down to Grants Pass, and then my car had transmission failure, and I left it in Grants Pass, and I went to Salem, where I did what I call shamanic work, taking pennies and throwing them, charging them, throwing them into stuff that anybody else would see as crazy, but like managing energy. And Salem is a very dark place.
Yeah.
It's the seat of government in Oregon, and there's just a lot of drug abuse and I don't know, satanic vibes. If I'm not being too sensory, I went to jail for stealing a burrito out of a lunch pail thing along with a cell phone, because I was so out of tune with like reality. I was dressing up as Medusa with a lightsaber, whacking telephone poles in rhythm. And it was just like, I needed to ground. So the universe was like, stay here for the night. I slept in a jail in a drunk tank apparently. And then the next day they released me, and I continued doing the same stuff. And then we're coming towards the end, so I'll just wrap up that I experienced jail twice in my life for a month. The first time was during that Kundalini awakening. It was very mystical, also necessary because I think I had MRSA. They gave me antibiotics. MRSA is like staph infection, very bad
Yeah,
for you.
it's bad.
It'll consume you from the inside if you don't treat it.
Yeah.
So the universe put me in the right place at the right time to take care of that. And I went to a mental hospital twice, where the first one was good, the second one was bad. They put me on bad drugs on the second one. That all got healed when I chanted Hare Krishna, because I remembered the mantra, and it just instantly brought me back to heaven, which was in, heavens within, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to Sedona, Arizona for the first time for the 11-11-11 gathering in 2011, where that consciousness left me, and I went through a 6-month-long super depression, where eventually it ended when I smoked DMT for the second time in my life in Jacksonville, Florida. And I was just not depressed anymore. I could smoke weed, and it didn't have this paranoid spiral of negativity that I was experiencing, which is why I didn't smoke weed hardly at all during this 6-month-long super depression. I talk about this 6-month-long super depression as a cautionary tale, because when you're going through this ascension process or this Kundalini awakening, there's a lot of perils, and you become a target for negative forces, and you have to learn how to cut your way through it and not listen to, you're just a schizophrenic on too much LSD. I get that a lot, I'm sure, from some people unconsciously. And
But now you've assimilated, and you're grounded, and you're
yeah.
So we're at the top of the hour now, Phil. Thank you so much for being here. Can you just let people know at home if they want to continue a dialogue with you or invite you into a gathering where they can reach you?
Oh, well, I'm in Minneapolis. There's a drum circle here in Little Canada, right next to the Walgreens, on Rice Street. That's as good as of address as I can think of right now. But yeah, there's a Facebook group. Check it out, the Minnesota Weekly Drum Circle. And I do typewriter poetry on the street. That is my bread and butter, because people like it more than they like just live music.
Beautiful. Thank you, Phil, so much. So you guys get in contact
so
with
much,
Phil?
Dominic. It's Dominic, right?
Yeah. Oracle is perfect. Oracle is perfect.
Okay.
So if you want to work with Phil, check out a drum circle, get some poetry done. You guys can message him as well. And we're going to wrap up this show with my final thoughts. So stay tuned. And Phil, thank you again. Do you or someone you know experience something supernatural that has left a positive impact on yourself or the lives of others? Want to share your story on our show? Please email Divine Encounters at e360tv.com, and together, let's create divine experiences. And now, the Oracle's final thoughts con mucho amor. It's interesting how we can go from a place of darkness and fragmentation, and through the breath and through bread and through small interjections of divinity, through multifaceted ways, how we can become aligned again. It shows us that the amount of medicine changes from person to person, and that we don't have to fully dedicate our lives into one path to receive what it is that medicine or that karmic imprint is meant to imprint upon us or lead us toward. I hope you guys at home feel inspired and motivated to go out there and encounter more. But above all else, may you all go in love, light, and wisdom, and come back Sunday night for your horoscopes. To know thyself, love thyself, and remember, the divine always has your back. Ciao!
Everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels very much, just remember. Just remember. Just remember.